left Trump Tower Tuesday buzzing with star power. President-elect Donald Trump coming downstairs for a morning photo op with Kanye West.
He's a good man.
Vogue editor Anna Wintour dropped by, and Microsoft founder and philanthropist Bill Gates.
We had a good conversation about innovation, how it can help in health, education, impact of foreign aid and energy, and wide-ranging conversation about the power of innovation.
Trump also sat down with former NFL star Ray Lewis and football legend Jim Brown, who admitted he didn't vote for Trump, but wants to work with him to help African-American communities.
Couldn't have been a better meeting. The graciousness, the intelligence, the reception we got was fantastic.
The revolving door of celebrities comes on the day Trump announced ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson as his pick to be Secretary of State. Tillerson doesn't bring any military or government experience to Foggy Bottom, but as the head of one of the world's most valuable publicly traded oil companies, he's brokered major international deals. Now the spotlight's on Tillerson's deep ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin, the two seen here sharing a champagne toast.
I've invested a lot of money, our company has invested a lot of money in Russia very successfully.
Some Republican senators publicly expressing concerns about Tillerson's potential conflicts of interest.
And there's a general sense that his direction on Russia would be different than the one that in the judgment of the Senate is the right way to go. He could be a referendum on the Donald Trump foreign policy.
But even those lawmakers who have raised flags about Tillerson's nomination say he deserves a fair and thorough confirmation hearing. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Today, President Obama is signing a bill that funds cancer research and the battle against drug abuse. The 21st Century Cures Act puts more than $6 billion over the next decade toward cancer research and the opioid epidemic, including funds that will come here to Maine. The bill was backed by Senator Susan Collins and has wide bipartisan support.
A major recall of a common household item. Why Cuisinart is asking you to check your appliances tonight and the danger behind that recall.
Not so good news about gas prices still ahead, just how high they're expected to go and the reason for the rise.
And at 4:30, bus drivers in the picket line, what they want from the Biddeford School District.
And just as we finish cleaning up from yesterday's storm system, a little more light snow in the forecast later on tonight. This won't be cleanup material, more likely just brushing it off the windshield first thing tomorrow morning. There is colder air, though, coming in for later on in the week. We'll talk about it. How long will it stick around? Early thoughts on what might be an icy weekend. My forecast coming up right after the break. Well, thank you. And a great bunch of kids there at the Elm School enjoying the day. Yes, probably had that snow day yesterday. I don't see any additional snow days this week. 33 degrees right now in Portland. What a nice afternoon it was. Despite these temperatures being a little bit below normal, not a whole lot of wind out there and lots of sunshine until the high clouds began to spill in. Those clouds show up on the satellite view here. You can see them overspreading the area. And this is our next weather system coming through tonight. Now, this is not going to be a big storm system. It's more likely defined as just a frontal system coming through with a little bit of snow out ahead of it. As it passes through later on this evening, midnight and the hours thereafter, likely to get a dusting of snow from it. Now, behind it, skies are clearing out. You can see Chicago up through the Great Lakes. That clearing trend will bring sunshine back with us tomorrow. But behind it here is where the real Arctic cold is. So that's still going to be another day away. That will arrive on Thursday. And Thursday is going to be an interesting day because the high temperature for the day will likely be first thing in the morning. And then all day long, instead of getting warmer, it's going to get colder. And Friday looks to be another cold day as well. So sunshine on a Wednesday, despite that fresh coating of snow in some communities first thing tomorrow morning. You know, some folks maybe nothing more than a dusting out there. And then on Thursday, you see snow showers becoming a bit more numerous. This is going to be a theme here on Thursday, along with a gusty wind. So Arctic air coming in, falling temperatures, snow showers off and on, and even perhaps some snow squalls Thursday night into Friday. Friday does look to be a sunny day, but the coldest one of the next few. Additional snowfall next 48 hours. You can see the mountains, highest elevations, again, picking up maybe another inch or two, but generally we're looking at a trace to no more than a half, 3/4 of an inch. 38 tomorrow, 22 on Thursday, and only 12 for a high on Friday. 10 lowest in Auburn, 8 in Augusta, and 13 along the mid-coast. How about the mountains? They're going to struggle to get to 0. That's how cold it's going to be. Mostly cloudy with those snow showers tonight. Portland down to 27. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a seasonable day. We get up to 38. Here's the all-important 8-day forecast. Falling temperatures on Thursday, and then with the cold air in place and a storm moving our way, snow, ice, changing to rain as temperatures warm up into the 40s here by Sunday. It's a messy weekend. Megan?
Roger, thank you. An all-out manhunt underway for the armed robbers who left this scene on a French roadway. Looks like something out of a movie. Cars engulfed in flames after a gold heist on the road. Authorities say the robbers ambushed an armored truck, forcing it off the road and then making off with 154 pounds of gold dust. It's worth about $1.6 million. And before taking off, they set one of their own cars on fire.
A federal judge explained today why he denied a request for a mistrial for Dylan Roof, the man accused of killing 9 African-American churchgoers in Charleston, South Carolina last June. Judge Richard Jergel said the motion was denied after Roof's attorney failed to make a timely objection to the testimony from one of the survivors. Now, if convicted, 22-year-old Roof faces a possible death sentence. Bill Cosby back in a suburban Philadelphia court today. Cosby's lawyers argued to limit the number of other accusers who can testify during his sexual assault trial. Cosby is charged with drugging and raping a woman back in 2004. 50 women have come forward with similar accusations. Prosecutors hope to call 13 women to show Cosby was a serial predator.
Gas prices could get close to $3 a gallon as soon as early next year. Crude oil prices are at their highest points since the summer of 2015, and experts say prices will continue to climb. Now, this comes after OPEC and 9 non-OPEC countries announced they are cutting production. Right now, gas in Maine is at $2.29, the highest average in New England. A major recall to tell you about involving kitchen staples found in millions of homes. The government is recalling 8 million Cuisinart food processors and warning some older blades can break apart and end up in your food. WMTW News 8's David Charnes has what you need to do if you have one of these in your kitchen.
They're simple and convenient, but now potentially dangerous.
Imagine having broken bits of a metal blade in your food and in your mouth.
Conair, the maker of Cuisinart, and the federal government issuing a recall of more than 8 million food processors.
These are in millions of American homes, including my own, and they're really dangerous products.
The CPSC and Conair asking consumers to immediately stop using the processor's riveted blades. They look like this, with 4 rivets and a beige plastic center hub. Over time, they can crack and send small metal pieces into your food.
We've seen dozens of examples of serious cuts to the mouth and damage to people's teeth. I think the injuries have come to light more recently. It goes back 20 years, and as I mentioned, we have one of these, and it's probably more on the 20-year-old side, and so we don't want consumers to be complacent.
Conair says so far there are 69 reports of these broken blades and 30 reports of mouth or tooth injuries made over the past 20 years. So now 22 different models of food processors are being recalled. I'm David Charnes, WMCW News 8.
You can check cpsc.gov to see if you own one that's being recalled, and if that is the case, the company is offering a free replacement blade.
Some good news for parents. A new report finds a decline in drug use among teens, except when it comes to one. We'll tell you which one to look out for that's up in total health.
An exercise routine you have to see to believe. Still ahead, meet the Pennsylvania man spending his retirement running. Wait until you hear how old he is.
And a quick check on Wall Street for you now. Stocks closing at record highs today. The Dow Jones added 114 and moved closer to 20,000. The S&P rose 14 and the Nasdaq climbed 51. Now here's a look at your local stocks.
Well, I was certainly cold today, and from the looks of the 8-day, it's only getting colder. I mean, I think I saw a 0 next to that Friday.
Yeah, and that's a low temperature for Portland, which will probably be one of the warmer spots that morning. So
Isn't it awful when you're talking about warm and zero in the same sentence?
Yeah, we were talking about high temperatures in the mountains,
Wow.
Megan, that don't even get to zero, -3. Now, this is deep January cold, so we got to start thinking like that. And folks who own pets, typically, it's common sense, but boy, I got to remind you, when Thursday and Friday, when it's that cold, and it's just too cold for the pets to be left outside for any extended period of time, their fur coats, sure, aren't always enough, though, on the very cold winter days. Here's what we're talking about as far as the feels like temperature. This is a combination of wind and air temperature. Wednesday morning, 7 o'clock, no big deal. Thursday morning, 8 o'clock. All right, there's a chill in the air. We're in the single digits. Carabasset Valley down to -8. Thursday night at 6 o'clock. Now we're close to zero with that feels like temperature. And look at the mountains pushing 10 to 20 below zero. And Friday morning at 8 o'clock, your feels like temperature in Portland close to -20, Lewiston, Auburn, Augusta at -22, and the Carabasset Valley dangerously cold wind chill factors early Friday morning with readings pushing -35. Tracy?
All right, in Total Health tonight, some good news for parents. Teens' alcohol and drug use is on the decline. An annual study released today shows teen drinking is at its lowest level ever. Plus, only 1.8% of high school seniors said they smoke half a pack of cigarettes or more a day. Now, that is a big drop from 1991 when 11% admitted to smoking. Use of drugs like amphetamines, prescription narcotics, heroin, ecstasy, and bath salts also dropped. However, there is one exception: marijuana. Pot use has remained steady over the past few years. A new study finds that opioid-related problems among pregnant women and infants in the U.S. are rising at a faster rate in rural communities than in urban areas. Birth of infants exposed in the womb to heroin and other addictive opioids grew more than sixfold in rural communities between 2004 and 2013. That is compared to more than threefold in urban areas. A new study finds that breast cancer patients who are considered socially isolated and have fewer ties to family, friends, and the community fare worse than other breast cancer patients. In fact, the study found that socially isolated women were 64% more likely to die of breast cancer and 43% more likely to see their breast cancer return. More than 246,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year, and about more than 40,000 women are expected to die from it. Megan?
Tracy, thank you. A 97-year-old man may be living proof that regular physical activity is beneficial for your health. Albert Booth's daily routine is really one you have to see to believe. He retired in the 70s, but he's been going ever since. Booth ran his first race in May of 1978. The Pennsylvania man keeps a log of all his race times and the weather conditions. He's completed 4 marathons. He says doctors tell him whatever he's doing, keep doing it.
Most people think I'm in my 70s. A lot of the runners say you're an inspiration. If you can keep going, so can we.
Amazing. Booth tries to participate in a race weekly. He says his favorite part is interacting with others on the course. You go, Albert.
I love it.
97 years young. Maine Senator Angus King weighing in on the Trump transition, what he says about the president-elect's pick for Secretary of State.
Also, bus drivers in Biddeford on the picket line, what the school board says and what the drivers were asking for.
And in case you missed it, Reese Witherspoon stopped by Ellen today to talk about her new animated film, Sing, and why it's causing some confusion at home.
My 4-year-old saw it, but he's super confused. Every morning he wakes up and he's like, hold on. I kept trying to explain it, and it's animated, and I finally was just like, you know what? It's just magic. Anytime a 4-year-old just says, I don't know, why is the sky blue? Magic. Magic. That's a good answer.
I still accept that.
Yeah.
And I'm way past 4. Tomorrow, Ellen welcomes Matthew McConaughey and Kings of Leon performs. That's tomorrow at 3, right before us at 4.
You're watching Channel 8 WMTW, Maine's total weather and news, first at 4. Live with Tracy Sable, Megan Torgerson, breaking news anchor Steve Minnick, and Chief Meteorologist Roger Griswold. Maine's total weather and news at 4 continues.
Happening now at 4:30, a school and community in shock after a young track coach's sudden death. Will Fulford was just 29 when he died of an apparent heart attack while working out alongside of his wife. Fellow coaches remembering him today as laid back but passionate and dedicated to the kids and community.
A bouquet of flowers marks the spot of yesterday's horrific car crash that killed a Gorham father and critically injured his 3 daughters. Additional counselors and social workers were on hand today at Narragansett Elementary School, where the girls are students. There are also fundraising efforts underway to help the family.
And we are learning more about the final moments aboard El Faro, the cargo ship that sank during Hurricane Joaquin, with 33 crew members on board. 4 were from Maine. Transcripts from the ship's audio recorder were released today by the NTSB. In at least 2 instances, the captain refuses suggestions from the crew to change course as the hurricane's track and strength changes.
All right, taking a look outside right now. Beautiful sunshine. It's in New Gloucester. I tell you what, Megan, it was a great day today. It was so nice out there. Big difference from yesterday.
It was a huge difference, and the other big difference was instead of slush, we had a lot of ice. I noticed a lot of ice.
And a heavy frost on the windshields this morning. You know, folks who were up early had to do a lot of scraping because we had a little bit of fog during the overnight hours. Quiet out there right now, but we do have some more snow coming in. This is not going to be a big storm, but I wouldn't be surprised if a fresh little dusting or coating is found on many of the cars first thing tomorrow morning. Timing of it, well, you can see we're up to about 40% chance in the greater Portland area. These are snow showers, meaning some towns may just get a flurry, others a quick coating, and others still probably nothing at all. Clouds, they're associated with this next approaching weather system. Light snow being reported out over western portions of New York State. It pushes through during the overnight. Tomorrow, another nice day. We'll get back into the sunshine and temperatures similar to what we had today. That means topping out in the mid to upper 30s. Call it mostly sunny, seasonable. Overnight lows under a near full moon. Beautiful night expected. 25 through the lakes region, closer to 20 in the mountains, and upper 20s along the coast. Here's your 8 to 8 forecast in 10 minutes. Your total outlook. We'll look at the 8-day forecast. Talk more about the Arctic air that's coming in for Thursday, Friday, and a messy weekend forecast as well. Megan?
All right, Roger, thanks. After weeks of speculation, Donald Trump has finally named his Secretary of State, but his confirmation is far from a slam dunk. The president-elect tapping ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson to be his top diplomat. Members of both parties raising concerns about Tillerson's deep ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin. While Tillerson doesn't have government or military experience, Trump tweeted that he is, quote, one of the truly great business leaders of the world.
We just couldn't be more grateful that someone of Rex Tillerson's proven leadership and accomplishments been willing to step forward to serve our nation as our next Secretary of State.
Trump also expected to pick former rival and Texas Governor Rick Perry to lead the Department of Energy. That's one of the departments Perry said he wanted to eliminate during the 2012 primary season. Senator Angus King weighing in on President-elect Trump's recent cabinet picks. King is not on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, but tells us he plans to go to Rex Tillerson's confirmation hearings. Maine's junior senator did tell us he has concerns about Tillerson's ties to Russia.
Russia is an adversary, and we need to be sure that we're not creating a situation where they're going to be able to take advantage of us in some way. So I'm going to keep an open mind, but I need a little convincing at this point.
Now here's part of a statement from Senator Susan Collins. I have never met Mr. Tillerson, and I look forward to learning more about his worldview prior to making any decision about whether or not to support his nomination. I anticipate that his perspective on Russia, his views on the use of sanctions, and his relationship with Russian President Putin will all be thoroughly explored at the confirmation hearings. Tracy.
Governor LePage says he's moving ahead with plans to build a new psychiatric facility, but not at the Riverview campus in Augusta. On WVOM this morning, the governor said that he does not have faith that Democrats will work with him to put the new facility at Riverview. 2 weeks ago, Democrats blocked a plan to create a new facility for patients who have been found not criminally responsible for crimes.
Charges will be dropped against a former worker who brought a loaded gun to school at Camden Rockport Elementary School. If she stays out of trouble, Megan Collier, an education technician from Tennants Harbor, pleaded guilty Monday to a misdemeanor charge in a plea deal. The case will be dismissed in 12 months if she performs community service and avoids any further legal troubles. Collier told police she didn't mean to bring the gun to school. Portland fire officials blaming cleanup from yesterday's snow for a gas leak that forced a condo evacuation this morning. The leak was reported on Sheridan Street at around 7:30. Officials say it was likely caused by a gas meter broken during snow removal. Crews were able to quickly fix the issue and let residents back inside.
An update on the fires that ripped through Tennessee. The damage, officials say, topped $500 million.
And a dream come true for one little Afghan boy. How a viral photo helped him meet his soccer playing hero.
And our Total Weather team is hard at work putting the finishing touches on our annual weather special, from preparation to recreation. And of course, our exclusive winter outlook. Roger, Sarah, Ted, and Mallory will get you ready for winter in Maine. That is WMTW Chronicle, a total winter forecast. It airs Friday, December 23rd at 8 p.m. right after World News Tonight.
As we go to the break, we're looking at travel conditions. Jetport, 33 degrees. Clouds are on the increase. No delays to speak of. In fact, all major hubs looking good on a Tuesday afternoon with no delays across the board. Here's your forecast for Wednesday. How about that 18 in Chicago? That's an indication of the colder air coming our way. We'll talk about when it's likely to arrive. My total forecast coming up right after the break.
Here's Chief Meteorologist Roger Griswold giving you Maine's total weather and your exclusive 8-day forecast.
Welcome back, everyone. No doubt about it, a wild ride ahead here as far as the weather goes. Temperatures are going to be up, and down. And that, of course, means all types of precipitation over the weekend. Here you can see what I'm talking about tomorrow and then Thursday and Friday. Note the downward trend in temperatures back only into the teens by Friday afternoon. And then we warm up back into the 40s over the weekend, above normal readings, back into the 20s early next week. And early thoughts late next week into the Christmas holiday, perhaps some above normal temperatures back into the picture. Right now, not too bad out there, 33 degrees at the Jetport. You know, sunshine today, but we've seen the clouds come in during the afternoon hours. And yes, there will be a little bit of snow in the air later on tonight. Snow showers, which by definition mean that, you know, some folks will get them, others won't. It won't be a big deal, but you may get a coating of snow and you may get nothing more than a handful of flurries. Activity right now over western New York State with a frontal system. This will continue to push eastward, and behind it you can actually see the clearing skies right now over portions of Michigan over to Wisconsin. That clearing will be on top of us tomorrow, and that means we're going to enjoy sunshine. Then the Arctic cold comes in, and noticeably on Thursday. In fact, Thursday, one of those days where temperatures in the morning will be the high temperatures for the day. It's just going to get colder all day long. That's Thursday. Tomorrow, we enjoy sunshine and temperatures very similar to what we had today, mid to upper 30s. Thursday, then the cold air comes in, a gusty wind develops, snow showers, maybe a snow squall. And again, another line Thursday night reinforcing the colder air. So Friday sends Friday mornings, temperatures below zero inland, close to zero in Portland, and we struggle to warm at all during the day on Friday. Wednesday, 38, Thursday, 22, Friday, I think Portland up to about maybe 12 degrees for a high temperature. Lewiston, Auburn at 10, Lakes region will be about 12. Mountains of western Maine, single digits, northern sections up toward the Carrabassett Valley. We're talking high temperatures close to zero. That is more typical of late January and even the coldest air we get in January. Mostly cloudy with snow showers, mostly sunny with seasonable temperatures. Tomorrow, 38 should do it. Here's your 8-day forecast. Falling temperatures expected on Friday with temperatures in the 20s. A snow, ice, perhaps mixing with and changing to rain on the weekend. What a messy weekend we are expecting with temperatures in the lower 40s here by Sunday.
Cold stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Carrying the baby, carrying all that stuff with the dusting and ice underneath. Yeah. It's a big old mess. So everybody, you know, should look out tomorrow morning.
Get used to it. Early winter.
There we go. There we go. Settle in, folks, right? Okay. Thank you, Roger. Happening now in Biddeford, bus drivers getting ready to picket, asking for higher wages and new contracts. They're picketing ahead of tonight's school board meeting. WMTW News 8's Morgan Sturdivant is live at the high school now with what both sides are saying. Morgan.
Hey there, Tracy. Yeah, the picketing is going to take place tonight behind me here at the high school. And I actually want to show you this sign here that is on a rotation. And one of the messages that pops up is actually asking, shows a now hiring sign for bus drivers. So clearly an issue here in Biddeford. Now, the bus drivers and aides have been working under an expired contract since June of 2015, and they say they haven't gotten an increase in wages over the last 2 years. These 26 employees are being represented by the Teamsters. Now, Teamsters business agent Ray Cody said the Biddeford School Committee refuses to consider fair wage increases to account for the rising cost of living. The union has gone to bat for the bus drivers before the Maine Labor Board twice now. We have exhausted the dispute resolution tactics of mediation and fact-finding, and our next step is interest arbitration. Now, I have reached out to Mayor of Biddeford, Alan Cassavant, who is the chair of the school board committee, to see what his response is. I am waiting to hear back from him. And again, the picketing will begin tonight at 6 ahead of the school committee meeting here at 7. And I'll have more on this coming up at 5 and 6. Live in Biddeford tonight, Morgan Sturdivant, WMTW News 8.
All right, Morgan, we'll check in a bit. The damage from the deadly wildfires in Tennessee expected to top $500 million. Officials giving an update today saying more than 2,400 buildings were damaged. 14 people were killed, 12 directly from the fire, 2 while the victims were fleeing the flames. So far, 13 of the victims have been identified. 2 teenage boys are accused of starting the fires.
Deliberations are underway right now in Florida in the retrial of a woman who was caught on tape talking about hiring a hitman to kill her husband. ABC's Elizabeth Herr is in New York with the latest.
Dalia Dippolito, who chose not to testify in her trial, maintained through her lawyer she was innocent.
Give her that freedom back to go home to her family and her infant son.
During closing arguments, the defense even revealed for the first time the 34-year-old is now a mother, insisting back in 2009 the police set her up.
Already, I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
That's when Dippolito was caught on tape talking to an undercover officer posing as a hitman to kill her husband of 6 months.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, man, he's been killed.
The defense tried to convince the jury the police department staged and recorded this video for the reality TV show Cops. Police denied those claims, and prosecutors told the jury the video speaks for itself.
For $4,700, she wanted 2 bullets put in her husband's head for nothing.
In 2011, Dippolito was convicted of solicitation to commit first-degree murder, but that verdict was thrown out on appeal. And Dippolito later told her Amy Robach she did nothing wrong.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not.
Did you hire a hitman to kill your husband?
No.
Dippolito was sentenced to 20 years the first time around, and this time a guilty verdict again carries a possible 20-year sentence. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
Coming up in trending, what was behind the Kanye-Donald Trump meeting? After just getting out of the hospital, the reason the rapper said he wanted to see and meet the president-elect.
And here's a look now at what Tracy and I will have for you coming up next on WMTW News 8 at 5. After her Virgin Mary disappears from a nativity scene, see the lengths a New Hampshire woman is going to find it. That's at 5:38. Snapchat rolling out more ways to share your deer-faced selfies, while you will update the app in tech news at 5:51. And new at 6, the number of stop and yield signs police say were stolen from the streets of Belfast over the weekend. Roger.
Steve, when the snow came to an end last night, sunshine came out, and in the moments after sunset, a beautiful looking picture coming to us from Moose Pond in Bridgeton, courtesy of Scenes of Maine. Hey, if you've got a nice looking shot, I'd love to see it. Upload it through the YouLocal section of our website. Stay with us. We're back right after a quick break.
Weather at your school continues this week in Mechanic Falls, the day after our first snow day of the season. Of course, the kids very excited to talk about snow, how it forms, and all the different wintry types of precipitation. That's what we'll be chatting about probably through the next few months, as many anticipate more snow days. Now, of course, as we finish out 2016, we have one more school to visit in Farmington next week, and that will be it, at least for this part of the year, for Weather at Your School Year. Of course, it will return as we come back from winter break on the first week of January. In Mechanic Falls, I'm WMTW meteorologist Mallory Brooke.